So our story takes us today to 2021. A long-haul trucker named Rick Daley was driving a familiar stretch of highway through the Appalachian Mountains. But when he blinked, 3 hours were gone. His truck was still moving. His hands were still on the wheel, and he had no memory how he got there. This is the story of Rick Daley. Rick had been a long-haul truck driver for over 15 years now. He was a tough guy, no nonsense, not the type to scare very easily. But that night, he was hauling industrial coil. It was a heavy load, headed south through the mountain roads that weave between Virginia and West Virginia. He'd done that route enough to know every pull-off and every blind turn. The shift started normal, just another midnight run. He was a night driver, preferred it that way. Said there was less traffic and more peace. But this time, something about the road felt strange. He was just past mile marker 238 near a place called Houndlow Hollow when his CB started crackling, then went dead. He figured it was a dead zone, no big deal. But then the GPS on his dash froze, and his phone dropped signal too. Even the music from his satellite radio went static. That's when he said the air inside the cab changed. It got real heavy, like the pressure dropped, like driving into a tunnel with the windows sealed. So he pulled off to the shoulder. No lights were out there, just trees, mist, and the sound of the engine idling. Rick said he leaned forward to reach into his map book. He blinked, and when he opened his eyes, it was 3 hours later. The truck was still moving. Cruise control set to 47 miles an hour. His hands were on the wheel. He passed a town for a sign called Whitesburg, over 200 miles further than where he remembered pulling off. He said he felt dazed, like he was waking up in the middle of doing something, kind of like sleepwalking behind the wheel. The fuel gauge showed exactly what it should have been if he had been driving that distance. His route log books had entries filled in, all with the correct mileage. But none of it jogged his memory. And one entry mentioned a diner he stopped at in Stroud, but he'd never heard of Stroud in Virginia. He called dispatch, said he had equipment issues and needed to rest. He slept in his cab for almost 12 hours, he later told reporters. A week later, curiosity got the best of him. He went back, this time during the day, just to see if anything looked familiar. About a mile before mile marker 238, on a narrow shoulder tucked behind a row of pines, he found something he swears he didn't leave. A perfect set of tire impressions. His rig's tread pattern, same spacing, going off the road and coming back onto it. Only the dirt was dry, cracked, like it hadn't rained in days. But he remembered wet gravel when he stopped. He tried to convince himself it was stress hallucinations, fatigue at the wheel, sleep deprivation. But then other stuff started. Nosebleeds every few days. No history of them before. Doctor said allergies. He started waking up at 3:18 a.m. on the dot, no matter what time he went to bed. He noticed a scar behind his left ear that wasn't there before. Perfectly round mark, no stitches, and no memory of how it got there. Rick never really drives that route anymore. He told a fellow driver he thinks there's something in those hills. Not ghosts, not people, but something. He doesn't say the word abduction or aliens because he doesn't need to. Whatever had happened that night, he's never driven that route since. But Rick's convinced he went somewhere that night, or something took him. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Urban Legend Hunter. Until we meet again.